One question. That's all you get. Plus your 3 wishes. The genie cuts off. Use your question wisely. Any further questions will be taken out of your wishes. Guinevere bits her tongue. Tell me what you're going to ask, Tetros whispered, careful not to phrase it as a question. How to find the secret word, said his mother. That's your question, then, the genie prompted. No, everyone must ask how to find the secret word, said Tetros. And yet, there's 100 dead bodies hanging in this cave. It's a trap. We need to ask something else. Cleverer than you look, the genie remarked, tiger eyes gleaming. If you are asked, I would have told you it's a secret, and you'll be no better off than before. Now ask your question. I care little about what becomes of you. Only your friends outside. One friend, brother, soon to be mine. For a split second, Tetros wanted to ask the genie what was happening to Agatha, then stopped himself. The last thing Agatha would want was for him to waste his question on her. He needed to focus on why they were here, the plan to beat Japheth and keep his princess alive. He glanced at his mother, hoping she was working out the secret word. Guinevere wrung her hands. What would Lance do? She whispered to herself. Tetros almost laughed. He had forgotten who his mother was. She had dumped his gallant father for the treacherous brute that was Sir Lancelot. Lance, who swept her off her feet and let her live a Highland fantasy, devoid of real responsibility. Now his mother was still lost in the fantasy, waiting for her knight to save her. It's why Tetros had chosen the girl he did. He didn't want one like his mother. He wanted an equal. That free feeling he had had on dunes evaporated. Suddenly, he missed his princess. What would Agatha do? Tetros diverted a smile. Maybe he was more like his mother than he thought. And yet, Agatha wouldn't be distracted like he was. She'd be thinking about those who escaped the cave. The ones like Aladdin, who had made their 3 wishes and gotten out alive. The wishes, Tetros realized it. Agatha would tell him to focus on the wishes. He looked up at the genie. What were Aladdin's 3 wishes? Consider that my one question. The genie's eyes flickered in surprise before he answered. His first wish was to be Sultan of Shazamba. His second wish was for Princess Asifa, the Sultan's daughter, to fall in love with him. And his third wish was for that mirror over there, he said, nodding as the cracked slab of glass against the wall. The prince picked up the mirror, a piece of misshapen glass furrowed in dust. Aladdin had used his last wish to have this, and he hadn't even taken it with him. Not a surprise, magic mirrors had peaceful powers. Even the queen who hunted Snow White could only use hers to assess her rival's beauty from afar. Yet Aladdin had invested his last wish to have a mirror of his own. Why? Tetros took a deep breath. Only one way to solve this mystery. He blew the sand off its surface and was faced with his own reflection. Instantly, the eyes of his mirror twin-glowed yellow like the genie's. Then Tetros was falling into them like a hole. He could see the Tetros left behind in the cave, as if he had split into 2 selves. Gold lights blinded him like he had dropped it into the sun before he came out the other side, floating without gravity through a hall of mirrors, each mirror playing a scene from his life. Young Tetris writing a message to his mother, then stuffing it into a bottle and setting it into the savage sea. Tetris crying alone in his dorm room at school. Tetris stiffening as Arik came towards him in a prison cell, a rip on his belt. Tetris lost in Philip's gaze on a window ledge he and the boy are about to kiss. Tetris gouging out the eyes of his father's status in King's Cove. These weren't just scenes, Tetris realized it. These were his secrets. Suddenly, he was back in the genie's cave, turning away from his reflection, sucking in air. Tetris, his mother asked behind him. He didn't answer. He didn't think. Instead, he held up the mirror and reflected her. In the glass, Guinevere's eyes burnt yellow, and now Tetris was falling into them. Into her secrets. Guinevere in her wedding veil, walking down the aisle towards Arthur, but behind the veil, she looked ragged with doubts. Guinevere embraced with Lancelot in the forest, the two disguised by the night. Guinevere in a dark hood, sneaking into young Tetris' room, kissing him goodbye, then seeing him wake, and hurriedly closing the door to lock him in. Guinevere on the shores of Avalon's Lake, receiving Tetris' message in a bottle, and crumbling it as she saw Lancelot coming, crunching freshly picked flowers. Guinevere, years later, glimpsing teenage Tetris arrive with his friends on the moors of Avalon, her face clouding over. Tetris ripped himself out of his mother's secrets, reeling from the mirror. "What's wrong?" said Guinevere, as if she had been frozen in time. "What are you seeing?" "You never wanted me to find you, did you?" her son asked. "After you went off with Lancelot, you would have been happy never being with me again." The flush in his mother's face told Tetris all he needed to know. This mirror spoke the truth. The darkest truths locked away in each person's heart. As his mother's was what he had known all along, her heart was with Lancelot, only Lancelot, whether the knight was alive or dead. That's why Tetris felt that empty feeling around her. She was here in body, but no longer in soul. Hoofs pounded the desert outside, shaking the cave harder. He was running out of time.